Hello, everyone. I'm Randy Arrington, and welcome to our 9th episode of Page Valley Living. We're here today inside of the Rebecca J. Graves Regional Center for Performing Arts in downtown Luray. And in just a moment, we'll be speaking with Miles Morimoto of Performing Arts of Luray, who helps organize programs here. And we'll talk to him about how he helped build this new stage here today and some volunteers he had help along the way with that. We'll also be talking about some new entertainment that they may be planning for the 2024 season, including bringing back maybe an old favorite. We want to thank everyone for tuning in after our holiday break. We took a little time off, and now we're excited to get back into our weekly schedule. We'd also like to thank our sponsor, Luray Caverns, where you can hear music of symphonic quality from ancient stone formations on great stalactite organ. That's the largest musical instrument in the world, only at Luray Caverns. Visit them online at luraycaverns.com to plan your trip today. We'll be right back in just a moment with Miles Morimoto to talk everything about what's going on and what's new with the Performing Arts of Luray and the Rebecca J. Graves Performing Center for the Performing Arts right here in downtown Luray. We'll be back in just a moment right after headlines. And now looking back at the week that was in the Page Valley. On Monday night, the Luray Council voted unanimously to solicit bids to construct 2 pickleball courts, not to exceed a total cost of $200,000. Council members seem to be pleased to be moving forward with the idea, which has been discussed for more than a year since the town was approached about a private donation towards such a project. Council mentioned during discussion that the project could potentially be paid for through remaining ARPA funds. During last week's work session, the Page County Board of Supervisors voted unanimously to hold a public hearing on February 20th to receive citizen input regarding a request by a Rileyville campground to triple in size. Jerry Baldwin, who currently operates River Run Campground LLC, consisting of 45 primitive camping sites at 741 Carville Road. The campground received its initial special use permit for those 45 sites back on March 4th of 2014. Now Baldwin wants to add 80 additional primitive camping sites along with the construction of 8 cabins. The supervisors also unanimously named District 5 Representative Jeff Vaughn as the first vice chair and District 1 Representative Keith Guzzi as the second vice chair. The selections followed the recent tradition of naming the vice chairman on a rotating basis annually according to district in numerical order. A second vice chair was added this year after multiple absences by the at-large chairman and the current vice chairman to ensure the smooth flow of board meetings and county business. On February 5th, the Board of Supervisors will hear an update from Kyle Rossner of All Points Broadband on the county's portion of the multi-million-dollar regional broadband project expected to fill the gaps that other broadband providers left across the Page Valley's unique landscape. In the world of sports, the Page County girls basketball team has had its ups and downs in the past week after putting up 23 points in the fourth quarter to beat Central at home 59-52 on Wednesday, which put them in first place tie with Strasburg in the Bull Run District. The Panthers fell on the road 55-51 to Clark on Friday night to slip into second place in the Bull Run. The Luray boys basketball team also sits in a tie for second place in the district after picking up back-to-back wins over Central and Mountain View last week. All basketball games that were scheduled for Tuesday night have been rescheduled for later in the week, some of them on Thursday night, some of them next Monday, and you'll have to check your schedules for your individual team. And a shout out to Braxton Riley, a 5th grader in Luray, who just got his birthday wish on his 11th birthday from the Washington Commanders, who chose him to help during the coin toss in last week's game against San Francisco. Braxton sent in a video to the NFL franchise and received a football signed by the entire team, as well as an invitation to participate in the pre-game ritual. And now, folks, coming up this weekend on Saturday, January 13th from 2 to 4 p.m., make sure you head out to the Art Space out on Route 11 just west of Luray. They're going to have an event called Words and Music Meet and Greet. with Paul Woods and Jim Lagasse. Paul Woods is an American author of fiction and poetry. He was born in Boston, Massachusetts. And Jim Lagasse was born in Waterbury, Connecticut, and started playing drums after seeing the Beatles on The Ed Sullivan Show in 1964. Also on this coming Saturday, January 13th, at Wisteria Farm and Vineyard on Marksville Road near Stanley from 3 to 5 p.m. Join them for their live music winter series, Cozy Crush Pad Afternoons, featuring Heidi Riddell. And that's the headlines from this past week in the Page Valley. Welcome back, everybody. We are filming on Tuesday, January the 9th, but our 9th episode of Page Valley Living will be airing on Wednesday, January the 10th. And we're talking today with Miles Morimoto from Performing Arts of Luray. You wear many hats in the community, but today you're recognizing PAL, as the group is known in the community, and we thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, let's first talk about PAL. So it stands, PAL stands for Performing Arts of Luray. So what is the organization all about? What is its mission?
I would say its mission is to bring the best in performing arts to Luray as a community resource. So to bring the best in terms of music, comedy, plays, different forms of performing arts so that people are exposed to it, participate in it, and that the community basically can enjoy arts live.
Well, I really have to say, I've been here for a number of shows. It's always an amazing performance, for a small town. We're talking about a town of 4,000 or 5,000 people. You've had some outstanding choirs in here. You've had stand-up comedians. We've done community plays. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. We've had dance troupes, I believe, at one time. We had all sorts of musicians from all over the country. And it's amazing that we can bring them here. How do you all decide or talk about what types of programs that you're going to offer? What's the thought process there?
Well, primarily Bonnie Anthony is the performance person responsible for it, but we have input towards that process. And what we're looking for typically is variety, first of all, but second, the best that we can bring to the audience here in Luray, because we feel it's important that we are, as our motto is, to bring the best in live performance to the community. But in addition to that, to try and bring the community into the actual theater so that there's an interaction between the community and this is a community resource.
It's a wonderful community resource and cultural outlet for Luray and for the Page Valley as a whole, really. And I know you probably even draw from a larger area than that. Before we get into talking about what may be coming up in 2024, let's talk about this wonderful brand new stage. I can smell the cut lumber in here. I love that wood smell. When I was a teenager, I worked in construction briefly, and that's one thing. That's the only thing I liked about it was the smell of cut lumber. Yeah. But so we've got a brand new stage here. Why do we have a new stage, and how is it bigger and better?
Well, two things. One, the old stage had been here for at least 15 years. It was made of risers, the type of temporary risers that you would put on a stage for a choral group.
Okay.
Wasn't very safe, couldn't handle the load. Dance troupes would come in and say they wouldn't perform here because it wasn't very strong. So actually Bonnie Anthony had said, hey, one thing she would really like to see would be a stage as well as closing curtains. So
right.
We took that on. I set up a plan to do it, and we got partnered with the rec center, actually, with Audrey King, who brought some of the inmates that he works with on a regular basis to work on the rec center to help out in building the stage, because they actually have carpentry skills, electrical skills, and very talented people. And they came in for a few days. Lowell Bond, actually, who's the architect of this building, and he designed the stage as an architect, and so everything was all laid out, and it was really a kind of a community effort to build this stage.
Wow.
So that's why I think it's kind of cool, because it brings this thing forward for the next 20 years, a professional type of stage that could now handle plays, dance troops.
We could bring river dance in here now, right?
Yeah, it's designed.
They could stomp on it.
It's designed for 100 pounds per square foot. That's what he designed
Wow.
it for. So you could drive a truck on this now.
Well, it looks good, and like I say, I still love that new smell that it has. Let's talk about 2024 coming up now. You have a show coming up January 27th on a Saturday evening, the last Saturday of the month. Tell me a little bit about that show.
That is a jazz singer. I should know her name, Narcassian somebody, but I can't. Doesn't come off the top of my head right now.
So we have jazz, okay.
Yeah, and then after that we have a performance which is a play, Love Letters. It's coming up in February, and then
wow.
we have another music entertainer. I think it's jazz in March. We have a very big name coming up in May, Lou Tabakin, who's coming up from New York. He plays all over Lincoln Center.
And this is jazz as well?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he plays, Lincoln Center to the Kennedy Center.
And coming here to Luray.
Coming here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're getting some really good acts that are coming in, and what we're trying to do is certainly burnish the reputation so that people think Luray. It's kind of like Monterey, pop or jazz or something like that, where people can come out, enjoy Luray, all the beauty of Luray, but at the same time, when they want to see a good show, they know that this is a destination.
Okay. Well, now I heard you say the word play, and I believe it was called Love Letters, and it's going to happen in February. Is this a troupe or an act that's coming through, or is this going to be local theater?
It's kind of local theater, and it's I think it's two people, and it's going to be a dinner theater type of arrangement.
Okay, okay.
So,
is there any chance, now this is me, one of my own personal requests, because you know what, years ago I filled out one of the forms like, what would you like to see? And I remember saying stand-up comedy, and you guys have brought stand-up comedy to Luray for the last 2 or 3 years, I think. And so now one of my questions is, and this is something we haven't seen since pre-COVID, so I know it's been at least 4 or 5 years. Are we going to see a true ensemble community theater production in Powell again?
we'd like to see that. In fact, I've got a meeting with somebody from Laurel Ridge Community College next week.
Okay.
To talk about that.
Oh, wow.
And we are now in that stage of outreach to look at doing that, because now that we have the stage and we've got the curtains to everything else here, that we could start to look at that. I think we're much better positioned to do it than we were in the past.
One more question before we go to a quick break here. Talking about community outreach, I got to give kudos to your outreach to the rec center, West Luray Rec Center, when you guys had the magician in.
Oh, yeah.
And just so happened the guy was from just over the mountain,
Yes.
somewhere a little further south and east of the mountain. He came in and gave a great show. The kids were into it. It was a great partnership and cooperative effort. Kudos on that.
Yeah,
That was great.
Well, and we want to see more of that, more of that type of integration with the community, on a regular basis, because this is a community resource. And in order for it to, I think, show everything that it has to offer, it has to be integrated in with different elements of the community. Local acts to, bringing in things like the rec center to come in for, giving tickets for disadvantaged children, to having them participate. There's going to be a puppet show. I know Bonnie is working on a puppet show coming up in, I think, June or July timeframe.
Okay.
And that's also going to integrate an opportunity for some of the kids over there and other kids in general to participate.
That's great.
I think those types of efforts we're going to see more of, and I'm personally very happy to see that, because I think now the community can start to say, oh, this is not some elite type of theater. This is a community resource. We should make use of it. We should, just like you go into your local high school or middle school, it's a building that's there, but at the same time, it's a resource that should help people experience and grow with the arts, with performance, with the opportunity to actually participate. I'm bringing in another kid who's in high school to help even start learning the panel for lights and sound, just just as an experience, because you never know, that might be the experience that kicks them off into doing something down the road.
Well, it's that kind of growth and that kind of integration and getting the youth involved, getting new demographics, new segments of the community involved. I do think that is the future of PAL, and I applaud you all for that vision. We're going to take a real quick break, but will you stick around just for a moment and play a game called 5 W's with us?
Sure.
All right. Well, we're going to do that in just a moment. We're going to continue with Miles Morimoto, but first we want to recognize once again our sponsor, Luray Caverns. From well-lighted paved walkways, explore cathedral-sized rooms with ceilings 10 stories high and walk among huge chambers filled with towering stone columns. Come visit Geology's Hall of Fame, only at Luray Caverns. Visit them online at luraycaverns.com to plan your trip today. And now back to Miles Morimoto, Performing Arts of Luray, and the 5 W's. Now I'm going to ask you 5 questions related to the who, what, when, where, and why. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. Who is your favorite act you've seen perform here at PAL?
I think it was Wes Caselli, the magician that you were referring to.
That's one of my favorites.
I mean, he came in and it's just like one after another, kept all of those kids who are normally kids at this age, they're on their iPads, they have very short attention spans, and typically if they're not absolutely entertained and into it, they're off doing something else or being a problem. And he had them just completely,
Yes.
the whole room actually.
He was an amazing performer, and to think that he's from the region, that's a little bit of a stretch, but he's kind of from the region.
Yeah.
And on top of it, he has performed on the Penn and Teller show. He's been on national television, and he's also been right here, not on this stage, the new stage, but he's been right here before performing in Luray. Let's go on to what? What is your favorite type of entertainment? If you were to go out and buy a ticket to go see something, what would
Well, I'm personally biased towards jazz music.
Jazz, okay.
Jazz music. I'll go someplace in New York or any place else, but that's what I would seek out before going to a play or a movie or anything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did you first get involved in PAL?
About 2 years ago.
About 2 years. And that's around the time you first
Moved into
the Luray area. Now, what drew your attention to, I just moved into a new community and I'm going to join this organization?
Well, actually, I met somebody, Jennifer Goff, who used to be on the board, through purchasing something, table on Facebook from her. And she told me about this and I was interested. And she got me involved, and I got on the board and saw the possibilities that this theater offered, and got very excited and wanted to join the board. So
very good.
Ever since then, it's just been what kind of things could we do that could make it even better, and give more opportunities to people.
Okay.
So.
Now, for anywhere in the world, and I'm going to even kind of say a performer as well. If you could see any performer or go to any venue, where would you like to go, or who would you like to see, or no limit on tickets, all that stuff.
Probably be something like the Beatles, which you can't see, and it would probably.
Well, you can see Paul McCartney.
Yeah, and probably over at the new Sphere over in Las Vegas.
Oh, wow.
That looks pretty crazy.
That's a good one. That's a good one. And the last one, the why, this is our last question for you. Why is a resource like Performing Arts of Luray so important to the community as a whole?
I'd say that it's a jewel of the community. It's unique. You don't see this type of thing just in any other small town, like a community of 4,000 or 5,000.
Right.
And in many ways, I think of an extension like a high school. When you're in high school, you have a big auditorium and you have the resources of a theater and the opportunity, but once you're out of that, then you lose kind of access to that.
Yeah.
And here, it's available. And I think what's cool is that no matter what your age, you can still participate and get involved in making this a performance.
Well, I truly believe that Performing Arts of Luray is one of those unique amenities that makes living here in the Page Valley very unique.
Yes.
I really believe that. Well, we want to say thank you to Miles Morimoto. Thank you for being here with us today from Performing Arts of Luray. Thanks for spending some time with us. And we want to thank you for all you have done and all that you will do in the future as well. We want to say thanks again to our sponsor, Luray Caverns. We want to say thanks to Eleanor Arrington for all of her work behind the camera today. If you've enjoyed today's show, make sure to hit that like button and share it with a friend, and subscribe to our YouTube channel of Page Valley News. And finally, make sure to visit all of our furry friends down at the Page County Animal Shelter and help them find a forever home. Until next week, I'm Randy Arrington saying, enjoy that Page Valley living.